Hello everybody, I am Widu. Welcome back to my cosplay workshop for another episode of Project Demon Slayers, in which I cosplay the entire squad. A quick recap so far, we have done Zenitsu, Nezuko, and Pork Boy Inosuke's head. This session we're going to finish Inosuke by making his hip fur, his leg warmer fur, and also his two swords. I hope you enjoy the video. Before we begin, let me just do a really quick plug. If you love learning cosplay crafting with me, visit my website at akwidu.com and grab one of my books from the store. There's also a free archive of all the tutorials I've made on social media for you to look through, and a gallery full of pretty pictures as well. Also, please consider becoming a supporter on Patreon, where for any amount that you choose to pledge, you'll access all of my YouTube videos 30 days early. Plus, you'll automatically get a tutorial booklet and pattern of each part of a cosplay that gets complete. Thank you so much for letting me plug. I hope you enjoy the video. Now that we've done the Pork Boy head, we can leave him aside and get onto his swords. Now, because I am doing the entire Project Demon Slayer squad, all of the main characters, I don't want to actually make all of the swords every time. So what I've done is made a handle with 3 layers of MDF foam and then made the blade separately. And how that's going to work is the blade can go into the handle like this, slots in, and I can secure it with just a bolt like that. Ta-da! The blade itself was cut out of a thin sheet of MDF wood with a power saw, and then the little notch details that he carves into his sword with a rock, I've done that with a table router, and then I've actually already done the painting with a layer of wood glue as a sealant, and then an undercoat of black, followed by a dry brushing layer of silver to get that shine on the blade. For the handle, every character has a different handle wrapping. So what I'm doing here is use a thin piece of EVA foam, make a hollow sock that can go onto the handle like this. You just shove the thing in, and that becomes a custom character interchangeable handle for whichever character I want to change into. So if I want to change into another character, I just take the handle off, take the blade off, switch the blade to another one, and the great thing about that would be that the blade would be shorter in storage and I can travel with it as well. Once I've got my swords done, it's just the finishing touch of the appropriate hand wrapping. So the way that Inosuke has his swords wrapped is really like Wild Boy, it's just a wrap around. So it's super simple. What I have done already is cut a long bandage out of some white fabric. And what I'm going to do here is fold it in half, get the halfway point onto the top of the handle, like this. And then start wrapping along the handle downwards. So once we've wrapped it around the handle once, we have a little bit of spare fabric here, and we're going to use the other half of the wrapping to wrap it one more time around the other way. So when we get to the end, we can use the spare fabric from both ends to tie a knot to secure the wrapping. When you reach the end, just tie off the fabric with a double knot to secure the wrapping in place. Ta-da! So that is Pork Boy Inosuke's swords all done. Let me show you the function again. The character handle can come off whenever I want to take it off, like that. Oof. And then the blade can also be unscrewed and comes off for travel or changing characters whenever I want to as well. So there is Inosuke, pork boy, our favorite pork boy's sword, all done. Next part we're going to work on is the fur that goes around the hip. And I've got this beautiful fluffy fake fur here. And what I'm going to do first is take a tape measure and measure my hips. We're going to put that measurement onto the fur. You don't want to do all of your patterning and then realize you've done it upside down. So always make sure that the fur is facing the correct way that you want it before you start. So my 91 centimeter waist, I'm going to mark both ends with a silver marker. Next I have to measure down my thigh to confirm how long I need the fur to come down. So in my case, it's around 40 centimeters. I will mark that again on the fur. And then the next part will be a little bit of drawing and interpreting shapes. So before I draw the fur, I need to figure out what shape the panel needs to be to achieve that kind of flow that this reference picture has right here. It might just look like a tube, but if you just make a rectangle and wrap it around your hip, you're not gonna get that spread when he opens his legs, like giggity, when he opens his legs. So we have to make the panel a little bit wider than our actual hip and make it a little bit circular as well. It's kind of like making a skirt. After a little bit of sketching, I decided to go with a kind of moon shape with the panel. I'm quite happy with this shape and I'm sure it's going to fit well on me, so it's time to cut. Now it's time to cut the fake fur. A common mistake a lot of people make with fake fur when cutting it is taking a pair of scissors and going to snip at the thing. This is an absolute must not do, and I will show you why right now. Let's take this beautiful piece of fur and I'm going to snip out a corner. Have a look at this. This is just a straight scissor cut, yeah? And it's very obvious that it's been snipped. You're losing a lot of fluffiness and natural look when you go through a piece of fake fur with a pair of scissors like this. It becomes very obvious when the fur moves and you can see the obvious snip marks that are in the fur. So I'm going to show you a good trick on how to prevent losing that fluffiness. We're going to take a super sharp craft knife and we're going to run it through the fabric backing of the fake fur. Only cutting the fabric, not cutting any of the hairs underneath. So be careful with that. Be as gentle as you can. Don't be afraid if you're not cutting the fabric. Just scratching the fabric will be fine. And then, once you're done scratching the fabric, it's time to rip! Rip! Ah! Yeah! It's so satisfying. Highly recommended. Maximum fluffiness, maximum satisfaction. Ta-da! After much satisfying fur ripping, I have my crescent moon for my hip. And there was no and. I had nothing else to say. So now this panel can just go around my hip. Around the back, it has a bit of fold over. This will be secured by a shoe string that goes around my hip. So when I move around, the back fold over will move with my butt rather than pucker and restrict my movement. So next we are going to do the leg warmer portion of his fur, and they're really easy. All you have to do is measure the length of your shin like here. Measure the thin part above your calf with this one here. measure the fattest part of your calf with this line here, and then measure the part just underneath your calf where it becomes to get skinnier here, and then right at the bottom measure the skinniest part of your ankles here, and the most important part is to measure the distance between each of those spots. Put them together and you'll get this panel right here. Super simple. And there we go, leg warmer for a piggy boy. Furry leg warmers. They're so warm, they're so leggy, and they're so furry. They're furry leg warmers. With the leg warmer done, now I can work on the second piece that would go from my ankle down to the bottom of the flip-flop. For the bottom half of the leg warmer that extends onto the flip-flop, I am actually going to just attach a rectangle onto the flip-flop just like this. Finally, make sure you try everything before finishing off. I'm going to wrap this around our foot like so. Secure the Velcro. Put on the flip-flop. And then secure the bottom. It's finished, and it fits so well, and it has lots of mobility, and it's just like the reference picture says it should be. Yes, the time has come. All the crafting has been complete, so now to put everything on. Hope you like it. Ta-da! Inosuke is officially finished and we can tick him off the list of Project Demon Slayers. I'm so happy with it. If you found this session helpful, please leave me a like and subscribe. Your support on this channel means so much to me and helps me keep going. Next on Project Demon Slayers is Kannoji the Love Pillar and also Obanai the Snake Pillar. Because they are pairing, I'll be making them at the same time. I hope you look forward to the next episode. Before then, stay crafty.